Hey everybody, welcome back. Today, we are not going to be doing a tier list. Just another hot take reaction to one weekend of results. What I want to do here is walk through the entire Road to National season so far, weeks 1 through 4, as a progression, not an isolated snapshot, because there's a lot of confusion around the current meta from people looking at one chart, one weekend, or one hero, without understanding how we actually got here. We're going to start with the bans and the developer's intent, then walk through weeks 1, 2, and 3, and finally land on week 4. Before we start talking about results, we need to reset expectations around the ban. The bans were never meant to destroy heroes or race strategies. They were designed to remove inevitability, not power. Pre-ban, certain decks compress decision-making. This is not inherently bad, but it narrows the format very quickly. Post-ban, the goal was to open space, to make room for more heroes, more play patterns, and more meaningful decisions. The developers were very clear about that in their messaging. And it also meant something important. Meta stability was never going to happen instantly. Any format coming off major bans is going to have volatility. Early results don't tell you what's best. They tell you what people were comfortable registering. Week 1 Road to Nationals reflected that perfectly. Gravy Bones led the week. Verdance was present. Kasai, Arachne, Dash, Flurry, and KO all showed up, but the field was quite scattered. This wasn't a solved meta. This was a players bringing the decks they already understood. Gravy Bones did well, not because the deck was broken, but because it punished unprepared opponents and rewarded straightforward execution. That's exactly what you expect in week 1. But week 1 results almost always lie to you if you treat them as a long-term indicator. They show comfort, not mastery. Week 2 is where we start to see a swing, and where many players start making mistakes. Verdance surges to the top, Florian jumps up, Arachne Marionette gains traction, KO increased in presence. What happened? Players reacted to week 1 instead of preparing for adoption. Gravy Bones drop back, Dash fades, the field compresses around heroes that look strong but had not yet been fully tested. This is the classic week 2 trap, countering last week instead of anticipating the next one. The meta was not solved here, it was overcorrected. Week 3 is the first week where the format starts to tell the truth. Florian takes the lead, Acilio rises significantly, Verdance stabilizes instead of spikes, Dash quickly returns, Gravy Bones doesn't disappear, it normalizes. What is happening? This is what a healthy competitive format looks like in motion. Sideboards improve, sequencing matters more, linear plans stop working against prepared opponents. Most important, no hero dominates. Everything clustered in the middle. That's the signal that deck choice alone isn't deciding events anymore. Now we get to week 4, and this is where patterns finally stabilize. Verdance sits on top, around 14% of the total wins. Arachne and KO remain highly competitive. Gravy is still converting. Kasai and Acilio are present but not spiking. Dash is there, but clearly not dominant. This confirms two things at the same time. First, the meta is wide open. You can win with many different types of heroes. Second, there is a clear top tier that keeps showing up. Week 4 doesn't say everything is equal, it says nothing is oppressed. So through the first 4 weeks of Road to Nationals, I have played Victor, Dash, and Florian. So that just goes to show you that there's 3 different heroes with 3 quite different playstyles that you can play and experience heroes in different ways, which I think is what the developers intended on when they created the bans and restricted lists before Road to Nationals, is to allow the meta to be quite open where there's clearly a top tier still, but any hero has a chance to win. Also, at the beginning when the bans were announced, people were saying that these were going to, Verdance was going to go away, Arachne was going to go away, Gravy was going to take a major hit. And I never really felt like that. And as we see the results, it clearly says that this was not the case, that people were overreacting because these heroes are so good. They're just not as maybe consistent as they were before. So that leads me to talk about the 3 top decks currently in the meta. If we look across all 4 weeks, the top 3 are clearly Verdance, Arachne, and Greggy. They continue to show up, they continue to convert, and they do not rely on opponents being unprepared to win games. That doesn't mean other heroes can't succeed, but I don't think most other heroes will achieve the same level of consistency across the events. Acilio looked like a sleeper pick early, and while it can win, the results show it hasn't maintained a high tier success. Syndra is starting to reappear, but it's not back to pre-ban dominance. So yes, play what you are comfortable with, but also be honest about the ceiling of your deck. So here's the practical advice. If you want to maximize consistency, the top 3 are the safest choices. If you want to play something else, you can, but you need to accept the matchup spread and prepare accordingly. Most losses right now aren't a balanced problem. They're sequencing errors, matchup misunderstandings, or sideboard mistakes. And that is actually a good thing. To wrap this up, the bans did what they were supposed to do. The meta is diverse, but not directionless. Weeks 1 through 3 show chaos, correction, and adaptation. Week 4 confirms stability without stagnation. Let me know in the comments what you are playing, what you're struggling against, and whether this lines up with your experience. If this helped you think more clearly about the format, like the video, subscribe for more competitive breakdowns, and I'll see you on the next one.